Hello, my name is Brian Klee. Want to thank Coach Bandstra for having me on his YouTube channel and let me present about defending the full house tee. There's my contact information at Coach Klee on Twitter. I have my own YouTube channel, Coaching Football with myself, and that is probably the best email to reach me if you have questions about this presentation or football in general. So before we get into the nitty gritty here, I think the reason I started my YouTube channel about 2.5 months ago, I feel as high school coaches, we have an incredible responsibility to lead student athletes, teach them life lessons at a really pivotal time in their development as young men. Football is the vehicle that we all love to use to teach young men that if they have uncommon levels of energy, effort, and enthusiasm every day, they will prepare themselves to be in position to have uncommon success on the field and throughout life. My head coach, Joe Stevens, that is kind of the program philosophy or culture is we're pushing all our guys to be uncommon in everything they do, and both on the field and then especially off the field. Today's presentation is going to be about defending the full house tee. It's not something that I've ever stumbled into presentations on defending it. It doesn't get that special treatment at clinics that like a spread offense does, or even to some extent like a triple option offense. Sometimes there will be a session about defending it. And T coaches would probably joke with you and they'd be like, well, that's because you can't. There's no way to stop it. And I think to some extent, offensive coaches are right that a really well executed offense usually in the end beats really well executed defense. But there's definitely things you can do to slow it down. The full house tee, it's also known as the power tee, straight tee, dead tee, Bay City tee, Olivet tee. Famous coach Irv Sigler, coached at Olivet College at the Division III level, and they were, I want to say, somewhere in the mid or early 2000s. They like led the nation in rushing, and it's because they run the ball all the time, but pretty impressive stat. Very popular here in the state of Michigan, and regularly we'll see success deep into the MHSA playoffs, including several teams that compete in the state championships. And part of it is we've got 8 divisions, so there's a little bit more variety probably when you get to the state finals than some other states and whatnot. But it has success all the way. The team nearby us, I coach at Coloma High School in Southwest Michigan here, and a team nearby us, Edwardsburg. They won the state title 2 years ago, and they were state runner-up 3 years ago. And then 4 years ago, they played a very, very competitive game with Muskegon High School in the state semifinals that I happened to attend. So it has success at multiple levels, not just the little schools. And then our top opponent in our division, our league each year is Constantine. I believe somewhere in the early 2000s. They won a state title, and one of the assistant coaches on the staff at that time is now the head coach there. And it's one of the more challenging offenses to defend, in my opinion, because it's very physical. It relies on great execution by the offensive line, like all offenses, but it has very deceptive fakes by multiple backs. So defending the wing tee versus a full house tee. The wing tee formation, most tee coaches would call that wing right or 100 formation. It's not truly completely balanced, at least how it presents itself. One side has ultimately a 4-man surface with that wing, a longer edge. The other side is got the split end. It's an open side. So the plays you get on each side end up being typically you get your belly to the weak side, and you got your down and your buck sweep and maybe power and a couple of things to that strong side. Meanwhile, full house tee teams, they're going to the ones I consider true full house tee teams, if I'm allowed to do that, is they're truly balanced. And obviously, typically one of those tight ends are going to be a better blocker, and one of those halfbacks are going to be a little better runner. But the schematics of their formation is completely balanced, and that makes it a lot harder to help your kids hone in on where the ball is actually going to be going. The base plays, to me, what really distinguishes the full house tee from the wing tee is they are going to do everything in their power to get this trap play going and attack the A gaps with the fullback. And then they'll attack off tackle with power. They'll keep outside with quarterback. So while it's definitely not the same as like triple option where the quarterback's making a decision, it's simultaneously going to attack 3 different areas to the play side most of the time in its base package of plays. And then it will counter back with the W there. The full house tee, we've struggled with it, and we've more recently had some success. My first 2 years as defensive coordinator here in Coloma, working with Coach Stevens, we took over a program that had previously gone 1-8 the previous year, and I think had 3 or 4 seasons in a row of just 1 win. And we struggled on defense overall, but we especially struggled against the tee. We gave up 43.5 points a game to it, and against all opponents. Like I said, we struggled some on defense. We just had we had issues making sure we were teaching and coaching guys to play with great base technique, and that culminated Constantine High School, extremely well coached by Coach Griffith. They scored 68 points on us, 9 touchdowns, 7 traps. They had a really good fullback, but it didn't matter who was going to be their fullback. The last 2 trap touchdowns, I'm pretty sure, were scored by backups, and it was us not having our kids fully prepared. It was on us as coaches. And so going into the 2017 season, we made one significant schematic change. We kind of switched and majored full-time in being a 3-4 odd front team, just because we felt like a nose could essentially defend both A gaps against all offenses, and then especially the T. And our reasoning was we were 3-6 both in 2015 and 2016, and we're 0-6 against the T. Pretty simple math. In Michigan, you used to get into the playoffs prior to this upcoming season. You get 6 wins, you're in. So if we could find a way to go undefeated against the T, we would we'd stumble our way into the playoffs. So one schematic change of switching to an odd front, and then more importantly, we just got better at coaching technique, at being very demanding and having high expectations, and not letting our players settle. And then on top of that, we started film and practice way more. So we were able to show guys, hey, when we go play on a Friday night, you're going to be trapped, and that ball probably going to the house. So made big time improvements. Still not great by any means, and I think part of it is the other teams coached well and whatnot. We're giving up only almost 18 points a game, taken off of what we give up against the T, and dropped 8 points a game overall, and it's allowed us to be way more competitive. The first play I'll talk about is trap, and it's just because it can be a lightning quick, big play potentially if they catch the trap guy being on discipline. Both these are drawn up against odd fronts on my YouTube channel. I got it drawn up against every basic front you can end up seeing. The goal of the play offensively, and that's what the start of this will be, is what the offense is trying to do, because I think as the defensive coordinator, you need to understand the blocking scheme and what it's trying to accomplish. Key idea is they're trying to put something from a 2 technique to typically a 5 technique. They're trying to put that guy in conflict by either trapping him or eventually running power. And if he's upfield at all, they'll get the kick out on him. The center is blocking on or away, and then everyone else is getting on a wall of down blocks, so trying to make an alley for the fullback to bend back, run right off those friendly butts, and try to hit a player right down the middle of your defense real quickly all the way to the end zone. So here we go. 3 years ago, this is that 68-point game, and this play I'm showing it first because it really shows the deception that the offense has if your kids are not picking up certain keys. This is our safety. He's walked up, and I believe we had him spying, working to power. So keep an eye on that safety. And then our other issue here, we're blitzing our outside linebackers. We were running a 4-man front at this time, and we're squeezing the front. So we're going to be decent on the trap, but this kid's going to be working out to power from the safety spot, and our middle linebacker doesn't quite get across to fit the trap. So right now, we did a good job getting hands on just about everyone except for that top side, play side tight end. See our middle linebacker here, he gets caught up in the wash just a little bit. And right here's our safety coming downhill. He is literally, inches away from that fullback, and he doesn't know that he has the ball. And now his job, he's working out the power, but we were having issues of not getting enough guys to that fullback on the trap fake. That's a big, strong kid. He's fast. He's going to go to the house. First of 9 touchdowns, I believe. On the 3 technique and the 2 linebackers, we're not terrible at 3 technique, but we definitely don't get the ball spilled. So 3 techniques down. Problem is, he is just a little bit outside. Right there is the trapping guard. He is kicked out, so they're going to get their vertical seam. The fullback keeps going, and you can see right here, our inside linebacker overran the fullback. He did not sniff him out. And right now, we got probably 2 guys on the entire defense who has any idea where the ball is. Our backside corner, and then the backside, I believe it's a 3 technique. Again, kid's going to the house. Big, strong, fast kid that we let the ball hit downhill. Okay, on this play, let's watch the backside 3 technique. They're going to go track to the left. And the play side 3 technique. Backside 3 technique does a pretty good job of hit pocketing the puller. He doesn't get hands on him like I'd like. The top side 3 technique, though, and what the offense is ultimately trying to do is put that guy in conflict of, we're going to trap you, we're going to double team you with power. We're going to trap you, we're going to come back with power and double team you. They're trying to get him to overplay. Now he's vertical, just enough. He's not looking for that guard. And even though our backside 3 technique does a great job of hip pocketing his guard, and he gets across clean, he's making contact in the backfield. Problem is, that fullback, I guarantee it, squats more than him, is just a little bit stronger. We don't get multiple hats making the tackle here. And that backside 3 technique and our play side 3 technique were the only 2 guys who really knew where the ball was. Corner has a clue, but he's just completely out-leveraged. And then the last trap we'll look at, this is Saugatuck High School. We're playing them 3 years ago, I believe. And the trap just hits quick. They get their wall. Safety misses a tackle to the house. End zone shot. So ideally, when we get into defending it here in a little bit, we need to get hands on that guard releasing that 3 technique, and we don't. Our 3 techniques vertical. In offense right now, they have what they want. This is a first down play, even if our safety makes the tackle, because the fullback is going to stay on that line. He's going to hit that alley, and it's going to be a big crease. And T teams usually do a good job of hiding the fake, and that's not great ball control in any offense. Typically, they come out, both hands are on it. You don't really know where the ball is. So after establishing trap and running the ball in the A and B gaps, T teams, their bread and butter play is probably attacking off tackle, the C gaps with power. And what they're trying to do is get that 4 technique or 3 technique, maybe even a 5 technique. They're trying to get them to be worried about playing horizontally and still in a trap, which makes them easier to eventually double team. So bunch of down blocks. They're going to kick out with the halfback. It's your standard power stuff. And right now they're on track. They got the kick out. This ball's not going to have to deviate at all. Outruns our secondary. Going in for a touchdown. And then instead of kicking out, they'll block on with both their tight end and their tackle. And then the guard, instead of the halfback, instead of kicking out, will lead or iso block on the linebacker level. And the play ends up hitting, and our linebacker just doesn't know where the ball is because there's a bunch of fakes coming. Switches to the end zone view. So we're getting most of what you see on this play is what we want. Our Will linebacker here is filling downhill, fitting an open B gap. Our backside Mac linebacker scraping across. Problem is, there's multiple fakes coming. They've got, right now, you still don't really know this kid has the ball, other than his hands are crossed at halfback. Only guys who know are the safeties, and he split them. Big, strong kid, going to go in for the touchdown. So third play in the play side progression is a quarterback key play, and they'll run it a couple different ways. Sometimes they'll try to influence a 6 or 9 technique to squeeze a down block, and we'll log it and get outside of it all. Other times they'll have their tight ends hook at the reach block at the point of attack, and then try to get outside and circle the defense. So they're trying to get everyone to step up and stop trap, stop power. When everyone knows this play's coming, you're yelling as the defensive coordinator, at least we used to, big 4th and 3 play. We've told our guys all week long, hey, their 4th and 3 play is quarterback keep to the left. And they get our outside linebacker. They get exactly what they want out of him. He's seen power on at least, I think, 2 of the 3 previous plays to this. He's trying to tackle a power fake. Quarterback keeps it on his back hip, circles the entire defense, has us out leveraged, and is fast enough that we're not going to catch him if he gets leverage on us. This one really shows a really good fake by Constantine here. Rides it, and pretty sure they ride that until they get that corner. Inside our corner does a decent job, but he takes that one step inside, out leveraged, race to the pylon, and quarterback's going to win it. This is a heck of a game from 2 years ago. A lot of mud, and you'll see all these fakes are coming. So they still got the trap fake. They still got the power fake. And then the quarterback's going to turn off of all that and circle the defense. And what happens, sometimes he'll tuck it in right up behind the power fake as a follow, and the power fake turns into an extra blocker. So it's a heck of a play to run your quarterback on, especially if you've established any inside stuff. You'll see our Mac linebackers just a little bit hesitant, trying to distinguish, are they running power or not? Stops for a second, pauses, and just gets beat just by a little bit. He doesn't even miss the tackle because the quarterback has him leveraged. So very, very frustrating because, again, your kids are seeing multiple fakes. If they're staring in the backfield too much, they just absolutely don't know where the ball is. And like I said, we've improved some. Constantine did take it to us a little bit this year. There's some highlights definitely against them, but they also get us here. This is the variation they're going to reach our 9 technique, top of the screen there. Oh, excuse me. No, that's a different clip. So they come down. Our 9 technique spills it, which we want. Our secondary, our corner's just a little bit hesitant, fitting outside of it. Guard gets the bottom. They out leverage us to the end zone. Get the end zone shot. You'll see the hesitation by our corner. And we're almost getting a run through here. We're still in the ball like we want. Now the corner's got to keep everything inside. So our safety sees a run through. He's thinking about hitting it. Goes over to the top. Our safety's in position to go hit that and tackle that near hip, probably for about a 1 or 2 yard gain. If our corner can set an edge here, the guard gets up on our corner, they got us out leveraged, they're going in. And then after all 3 of those fakes, so they're faking trap, they're faking power, they're faking a keep, they'll end up coming back with a counterplay. And most teams we see, they'll typically go guard kick, tight end wrap. And it's power, but with misdirection. It's a little bit slower than power, but we teach our kids to treat it exactly like power. This is our first year going against Constantine. The tight end's going to arc, and we don't play this anymore. We got our corners walked up. We're trying to like do a bear type thing and overwhelm them. And what ends up happening, you just lose guys to pursue when you get a bunch of guys up on the line of scrimmage. You can make it incredibly tough on some plays, but if something pops, we've got no chance right now. They're going to the house. And take it back one more time. Right here, here's our, and this is why, there's, again, we could maybe be overwhelming them with what we do, but here's our corner. He's not going to play off a down block well. He's matched up. He's just vertical upfield. Guard would get the kick out. And we only got one linebacker in pursuit with the deep safety. Kid outruns us. This is the game after that 68-point game. We're playing Delton Kellogg, who we've every year we have a one-score game with them, one way or the other. It's going to be one score. And we had a pretty good night against them. But they get our 9 technique, a little bit vertical. They get the kick out they want. They went GT counter here. The tackle's leading up. He's going to be on our cornerback, or at least make him have to run wider, and kid outruns us, sets up a score a couple plays later. Zone shot. And again, they're still going to have fullback fake, power fake, keep fake, and then they're coming back with the counter. So tons of misdirection. There's 4 separate fakes coming out. Each guy is going to typically have their hands over the ball and trying to find it. Right here, our backside linebacker does a great job. He's getting across the midline. Our middle linebacker does a pretty good job, but they get the kick out. So that ball's able to hit full speed, and he's one-on-one with the corner, and we do a good job rallying and make the tackle, but a big game happens. And then this one illustrates how effective the fakes can be. Now, our corner, I believe this is our second game. He played corner for us that year. He had previously been playing safety, and we just moved him up to corner. He's a very, very fast, athletic, all-state track guy. But it's his first time seeing the T as a corner. And his job, he's keying tight end and near back. He sees that back go away, and now you see number 5 chasing, and they got us out leveraged. And because he's gone, we're coming back. Our linebackers do a decent job. We got our one linebacker here. We got our safety sitting, I believe, on the guard, actually wrapped. They washed our outside backer. And just in the end, the guy that we're trying to spill the ball to ran the wrong way because he saw all the fakes go the opposite way. So they get a big game. One last counter. This is from this year. They get our 9 technique at the top of the screen kicked out. Our safety misses, and that kid's just a little faster and stronger than our corner trying to run him down and make a tackle. The corner also probably goes through the strip and doesn't help us out a ton, but sorry. You see the quarterback dealing cards back here. That's what I refer to it as. Trap fake, power fake, counter. Tight end's coming, going to kick out our 9 technique. If he spills that, if our 9 technique rips inside that ball goes outside to our completely unblocked corner. The tight end would be wrapping up inside to our safety, and our corner would be able to make that tackle as the guy runs to the sideline. gives that kid a chance to cut back and make our safety miss. Pretty athletic kid, and he picks up a big game that sets up a score a couple plays later. Last part is some play action passes. They'll have what we call keep passes, where they're flowing to the play side. They're going to put something in the flats, and they're going to put a flag or corner route in the deep outside third or quarter, whatever you want to call it. And they'll either have the tight end be on that deep route or the halfback. What happens, most of these teams, typically their halfback is just a little better athlete than their tight ends. If their tight ends are better athletes, they'd be playing halfback probably. So they'll also have that halfback run the deep flag route. Here we'll have the tight end on a low route and the halfbacks on the deep route. This is from 5 years ago, and right now you can see the eyes of our three defensive backs. They're not picking up this very obvious deep out by the tight end, and they definitely are not picking up the flag route by the halfback. And right now, I mean, the quarterback, as long as he gets that off, he can throw a grenade out there and it's going to drop in. And it's frustrating because these T teams, they're going to run the ball. If there's 50 snaps in a game, there's going to be about 45, 46 runs, and they're going to throw the ball about 4 times. And they're counting on the idea that your safeties and your corners are worried about helping with the run, that they're get their eye discipline to lose focus for a little bit and pick up a big game. Here's another one. Again, this is a touchdown right now. Halfbacks on that flag route. Easy. And then the last main type of play action they'll use is boot passes. So they're going to get on discipline pursuit, get the entire defensive front running one way, and then come back and with the boot. Again, they're trying to typically get the deep flag route in what they do. This is Saugatuck boot pass right now. That's a score. Our safety, the tight end came right at him. His eyes weren't there. Our corner, his back went away, and he's not picking up anything. Our backside safety, backside corner, not getting anything. And what they're counting on is exactly what our corners are doing. Our corners have creeped up because they're trying to help play a spilled power, or they're trying to help tackle the key play. Our corners are a little too tight to the line of scrimmage. They get a real easy pass on boot. This is a game to go to the playoffs a couple years ago. I believe Delton's 4-4. We're sitting at 4-3, and they're fighting for their lives. We're fighting for ours, and they get a heck of a play really out of the quarterback. Tight end holds on, and our safety runs it down. But that's the score of the game. The first quarter, I think, took like exactly 12 minutes. We're a triple option team on offense, and they're a full house T team, obviously, on their offense, and we've both been running the ball. And it sets up the first score of the game. And what happens, our safety, his primary key should be that tight end. And you see right at the start of it, we've got a squeeze called with our defensive line. That tight end shoves that 9 technique down just a little bit, which looks a little bit like a block, causes our safety to hesitate. He knows where the ball is, but that tight end obviously has about equal speed to him, and that tight end gets about 2 or 3 steps on him. Quarterback throws a perfect ball, really, and they get a big gain. Boot, and now they're gonna hit the wheel by the guy that's normally coming up to lead block. And when the ball gets stilled, what happens a lot of times if the tight end gets hung up on the 9 technique, that halfback's going to lead block on your corner. It becomes a little bit challenging for the corner to distinguish, is he slipping me and going to run, or is he blocking me and I got to leverage this back inside? You'll see our corner right now, his eyes are not on that near back. That's the biggest problem. And that's what this offense ends up doing. he brushes him, and it's a touchdown now. Anyone can throw that ball, and the kid ends up making safety miss right here at the end, but that's an open field tackle. Those are always hard to make. You obviously want your guy to find a way to get him down, but he's in full speed in the open field. That's hard to make that tackle. You see both of our defensive backs, both our corner and our safety, are following that tight end drag, which ends up opening up the wheel ridiculously wide open. I do not need to see the end of that. And then this is us a couple weeks later. Corner's still having the same problem of, all right, tight end drag. Here's the wheel. Luckily, our safety, pretty headsy kid, got some depth, rallied to make the tackle. So before I get into the specifics of defending the T, I think it's important to address defensive philosophy and scheme. You're going to see that we're using an odd front. I don't think you exclusively need to. There's some advantages of that I like. But any defensive philosophy should create a very flexible system that plays any given offensive scheme with very similar principles. And like I said earlier, the defending the T forced us to just get better at defense as a whole and make sure that everything that we were teaching against it, we figured if we get better at just playing the T soundly, we're going to be able to make reads off our keys against any offense we see. Every sound defensive scheme is going to rely on a force defender that sets the edge, makes the ball go back. It's going to have inside defenders filling the gaps, and then an alley player running in between that force defender and the inside gap fillers, and then lastly, somebody who's playing the backside cutback or counter. Also, every sound defensive scheme is going to simultaneously account for all the receiving threats, either by man coverage or zone coverage. That is, in the end, limiting defenders with run-pass conflict. Fitting the T in particular, the T relies on building a wall of down blocks and kicking out a defender to create a running lane. So the defense simply needs to create gaps in that wall, either by ripping under down blocks or squeezing the air out of down blocks. We defensively prefer to spill the ball and kill it on the perimeter because it allows for consistent run fits out of all our guys, just letting them all play faster. And the more important part with that, what you saw in some of the cut-ups of the offense executing extremely well against us, is by spilling the ball, I really think we do a better job of getting multiple tacklers to the ball carrier. As much as we definitely coach tackling and have our profile tackling progression and all those things, and teach some roll tackling progressions, you just tackle better when you get 2-3 guys tackling the ball, and that's what spilling, I believe, allows us to do. And then lastly, we primarily play matchup zone coverages from a 2-high shell. We'll talk about how that helps us with the cutback, and we really feel it lets us get 11 defenders to defend every play. So I'm going to show us fitting both trap and power at the same time because I think it's incredibly important that you're consistent with your fits off a key that you read. We'll start with the trap play. The four-tech end here is, to me, the most important part of that play. If we're not on a movement, his job is to strike the bottom of the breastplate of that offensive tackle and then squeeze that block down. And what that ends up doing is keeping his middle linebacker and then the backside linebacker clean by keeping that block flatter. And then as his shoulders turn perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, his job is to hunt for that guard, rip inside with his outside arm across the guard's face, and make sure he's filling the intended path of the trap, making sure the trap goes out to C gap or wider. And then the next most important piece, why we switched to an out of front, if that nose can get into the play side A gap at all, he keeps the backside linebacker completely clean. And we can do that on movement, but we're guessing. We will two gap that nose at times, and he's really playing the leg technique. And what I mean by that, he's striking the center, worried about knocking the center back, because sometimes that'll pick off the pulling guard all on its own. And then as he feels the pressure from the guard to his left, slipping his hips into there and then slowly working into that A gap. And then from there, our consistent fits, if you look at both the MAC and the will linebackers here, our MAC linebacker and our will linebacker, we're keying guards to backfield. We're worried mostly about the guards because the backfield can lie a little bit. He sees that guard down block. He's fitting straight downhill, and he's looking for the first open window. We teach our linebackers to fill, scrape, fill. So if he's filling, and his scrapes usually are not incredibly wide because they'll either get wash on us or we'll squeeze down blocks and he'll scrape out just a little bit. Our will linebacker, if he sees guard away, he confirms that the back's also away. We teach him guard away, flow away, fit opposite A. Opposite A gets closed by his nose. Opposite B gets closed by that end. A lot of times our MAC linebacker will fill the C. Our studs fill in D. And that will linebacker sometimes, I'm pretty sure we'll stumble into it at least once here. He'll make tackles all the way out in the alley over there after the ball's been spilled. And then our corner is playing force. He's keying tight end to near back. Our safeties are keying those tight ends to near back as well. They're typically a little bit slower because they need that tight end to actually hook up on block somebody, and same thing with the halfback. And then we've got, we're trying to hit pocket and run the heel line with both our backside 4 and our backside 9. And then why we're too high, that corner's keying that tight end to that near back. He sees flow away. He starts scraping and looking for cutback. Well, every once in a while, the trap will come out the back door there, or potentially counter comes back. He's tackling the first threat back, and that lets that will linebacker play really aggressively, getting over the midline to the pursuit. And then if you quickly look at power here, the only things that really truly change is our MAC linebacker. If he's got an open B gap, he's going to run through it. That's what we coach him to do on day one at least, because that speeds up the double teams that the offense has to execute. And then the other obvious big difference is we're getting a completely different block on our fourth technique. Instead of a tackle down blocking, the tackle's going to be blocking him on, and then he gets outside pressure from that tight end. So he's really fighting to get in the C gap with real similar technique to as what I talked about with the nose. So here's a trap, and what makes this play, and this is why we're odd front, keep your eyes on the nose there. He's got his face mask underneath the chin of that center. You see the pulling guard's helmet right there. He's not going to get across the trapper guy. And we've got a 2 or 3 yard loss. Our backside 3 technique, I believe, ended up hip pocketing the pulling guard. But a great job of our guys getting off the ball there. This is us 2 years ago. Again, why we're in odd front. And now this is an adjusted front for us. This kid is really good. We've been blessed with some really good noses. I think you can get away with a smaller guy, but you got to guess and slant him a little bit more. Very big, strong guy. We're letting him stay on the nose, and we're overwhelming. The scouting report says they're going to run right. We've got them outnumbered a little bit to the right, or at least everyone manned up. Right now, that's a mess in there, and it's completely thanks to our nose. And what that does, you see our will linebacker right here, scrape across, completely unblocked, and again, we're making a tackle for loss. So I think it's, and I've talked to a couple T coaches. My uncle's coached in the T. We were watching Edwardsburg playing in the state final when they were runner-up together, and he goes, oh, they came out in even front. If Edwardsburg is any good against Grand Rapids Catholic Central, he goes, they'll find a way to move the ball. They feel an odd front just a little bit more problematic if that matchup between that center and that nose is one that favors the defense. Have your eyes on the 4 technique here. Doesn't do a great job of, now he's on 5 technique, excuse me. He's on a called pinch. He should get just a little bit hands on that guard, should be aiming for it. He does come down though. Right now his helmet is inside the helmet of the pulling guard. The ball spills outside. He pursues to it, makes a nice tackle. The end zone view, our end zone guy started late. Another trap. This is one of the kids that was trapped on those offensive highlights at the beginning of this. Davion Bledsoe, one of the smarter guys I've coached. He's playing 5 technique. You see his shoulders turn. After his shoulders turn, he's hunting for that guard coming to trap him. And his job is to rip inside and run the circle to try to get back out and to pursue. Now, it'd be nice if his pad level is just a little bit lower. He's maybe making this play himself, and we're getting like a 2-yard loss. And the other issue we have of why this play goes for 4 yards, our outside linebacker doesn't continue to go down. If he continues to go down, and he's looking for something to spill, if he continues to fit tight, we're also making him play for 2-yard loss. And last part of it, I believe it's our MAC linebacker. Yeah, it is. This guy right here. He's looking for open window. They all got closed. He scrapes. He's just outside the tight end using a great rep technique. Tim Reb is our inside linebacker coach, and he got our guys playing better with their hands. Tough wrestling kid. Keeps working downhill. Oh, he works out the power. My bad. It's our backside linebacker. So he sees the guard away, rips underneath the block of the guard, the play side guard, and comes from the backside. Go to the end zone shot of this. Just a good fit overall. Right now we've got movement called. We're squeezing down inside, and a lot of people, oh, coach, you're going to get watched. Well, we might, but our D-gap defender, our force guy is that corner out there. We're playing cover 2 behind this. He is keying that tight end to that near back. He's got outside leverage on everything, and then we still got the safety to run the out. So even though we're definitely, like, if they go with the reach scheme, they're definitely going to get out into the alley. It comes into play how good is the corner doing what he's doing. So here is our 4 technique, squeezing. He's down inside the guard. There's the guard's hat. There's his helmet. And he runs the circle a little bit, gets hands on, drags the fullback down. Our 9 technique could be a little bit more physical, but he knows the ball's inside. Comes down, and again, we get it for just a short 2-yard gain. And then this is a scrimmage. Here's our 4 technique. Comes down, and a lot of guys are, well, if I spill myself, I'm not getting the tackle. If I run the circle really, really hard as a 4 technique or 5 technique, and that fullback's disciplined, he's going to be close enough that I'm going to get hands on him and do my best to drag him down. His teammates arrive, and we make a nice stop. And this is something I think that's important for younger coaches to understand. Scrimmage, you got to go back and look at your film. Those are not 9 techniques to us. They should be covering up the outside half of those tight ends. And that's, things don't look perfect, especially I believe both those guys are juniors. It's their first time playing varsity ball. We're on a movement. He's down to the guard. His hat's inside the pulling guard, runs the circle, and gets out of the fullback. Linebackers show up. We make a nice play. Another trap. We're going to get a good hip pocket here. Right there, I believe. Comes down, and really the pulling guard can make that play by himself. And that's another, as we look at the end zone shot, that's another thing that's nice about odd front. That center is worried about blocking out. The guard's coming down, double teaming the nose. So they're trusting this backside tackle to cut off that 4 technique back there. So if that 4 technique is quicker, you can get on the guard's hip pocket and make a great stop for the no game. So this past year, our 5 technique, just keep eyes on that guy. Travis Bohr comes down, stays on the heel line, makes a tackle from behind. And again, he's able to do that because our nose is eating up 2 blocks here. Play side guard, play side 4 technique, 5 technique, I apologize. He's coming down as well. Again, we're on a called movement with those 2 guys. We're letting our outside backers play a base technique. These guys are pinching. His hat's inside the pulling guard, and the fullback's right in front of him. It'd be nice if he ran the circle and made the tackle himself, but our backside 5 stays flat down the line and makes a nice tackle from behind. And
he's able to do that because our nose, James Clay is his name, does a good job of getting off the ball, even though he's in backside A gap. It'd be nice if he was in the other A gap. He is winning. His knees are bent, and he's leaning forward while that center's a little bit more straight-legged and leaning backwards. He's able to reset that line of scrimmage, which lets us pursue from the backside. Here's a great play by and it shows, I'm pretty sure we're on a slant call. So our nose gets into play side A so quickly. Watch the backside linebacker. And they get a good gain here, but this shows the issues that nose getting into play side A can end up causing. He's right in front of the zebra there. He's into play side A and he's swimming, and his name's Calvin Hudson, tough kid and played hard, really explosive and strong. He makes that ball cut back, and now our will linebacker doesn't need to get there, but he sees it. He knows that ball not getting out over there, so he's tackling it. We still have our corner shuffling and our safety to potentially play that cutback. Nice play by our linebacker picking that up. And then for younger coaches out there, this is where I think we got better for the most part. Our corners are keying tight into that near back. They see near back go away. They are looking for the next threat. So right now, next threat is the fullback. And in past years, that play will show the end zone shot. That would go for a touchdown prior to us improving how we coach those guys. That corner saves us and gives us a chance to make a play. See the crease. Our nose is in that play side A gap again. We're trying to hit pocket with the 4. Our 9 could be a little flatter to maybe get there. But right now, if that corner's not there, this guy's able to continue on this path, cross up our safety, and it's going to go for a score. And again, giving yourself a second chance on defense is super, super important. Last trap clip, I'm pretty sure. These are our second string up front, and it's just nice knowing that we got our guys understanding what they're doing so well that they're even making plays in the fourth quarter as backups in a game. This guy got trapped on some of that film at the beginning of the video. He's down inside, and he gets knocked down, but the ball spills. So could do a better job getting hands on that guard, but he goes down inside. He's inside the pulling guard. Fullback has to go out. Our MAC linebacker is filling. So we got B gap, C gap. Here's our outside linebacker and D gap. Backside pursuit out of our other outside linebacker. And our will linebacker comes across, and we get a bunch of yellow jerseys to the ball. So next up, stopping power. Again, we're trying to keep our fits consistent. So I see down blocks as an inside linebacker. I'm stepping up. I'm filling to scrape. Backside linebacker, trap or power. It ends up looking the same if I'm keying guard to near back. And I'm scraping across the midline, opposite A, fill, scrape, fill. The key difference, what is the most important part to me on power, is playing the C gap, both with the 4 technique. In this particular picture, we'll use the 5 technique as well. But making sure we at least stalemate that double team, get hands on that tackle, flip our hips into the outside pressure, and then the 6 or 9 technique that we'll play out of our stud and our bob linebackers, coming down and spilling it and making sure the ball gets out to ultimately an on-block corner, an on-block safety, and in a lot of cases, one of the 2 inside linebackers come free on-block if we're playing correctly. So power down on the goal line. We're going to get great plays really out of everybody point of attack. I think our backside linebacker does a pretty nice job too. Keep your eyes on the 5 technique first. He's off the ball, flips his hips. Pad level could be a little lower, but he's stalemating the line of scrimmage. Our 9 technique is right here. Here's the halfback kick out. He's inside of that. If the ball continues inside, he's going to be able to make a tackle. Our play side linebacker, I believe our will linebacker here, he's stacking his 5 technique. He's inside and spilling the down block of that tight end after he slid off. And the nice part is that tight end didn't continue to double team our 5 technique. His name's Coloma. He's an all-state wrestler. He's going to win a one-on-one with the tackle, and that leaves our backside linebacker completely clean to run through. It'd be nice if he went downhill, he could snipe this, and instead of a 1-yard loss, it's probably actually a 2-yard loss. And our corner, because this is important, this corner got beat by Keith earlier. He makes darn sure he's outside of it all. This is us this past year in our pink jersey, breast cancer awareness night. Our 9 technique. Take it back one time. Right here, 9 technique. Jackson Hodges inside. Again, pad level could probably be a little bit lower, but he's making sure the ball goes outside. Our corner's unblocked, and he gets pushed back a little bit, and it'd be nice if he keeps outside leverage, but he does enough to make sure the ball can't just go run free. And then our linebacker, Nick Santarlis here, he's downhill, Phil scrape Phil, unblocked. Again, could be tackling a little lower, but we only give up a 2-yard gain. End zone shot. Downhill. He feels like our 5 technique is closing off the B gap with his double team, and he's his backside linebacker, his teammates running across. He could fill that if he scrapes over the top there. Ball spilled by our 9 tech, fit tight to it, and we make, again, a 2-yard gain. There's the power. We're off the ball big time. World of trouble because of the nose. Luckily, they weren't pulling a guard, so it's not as effective. And I honestly think they may have stopped pulling guards because they knew they weren't going to get there. They were going to try and let the guards work up to the linebacker level and cut that off. Point of attack, our 9 technique, real good job getting hands on the tight end. Our 5 technique, slipping his hips, fighting that double team. 9 technique spills it to himself, and our 5 technique and our nose holding up their double teams. Our nose creating upfield movement. That guard is working to the backside linebacker. Right here, our MAC linebacker comes and hits that B-gap run through on his fill, makes a nice tackle from behind. Tough wrestler kid, Cody Reese, did a good job for us the past 2 years. Power on, so now I'm pretty sure they're coming to the right here. He's blocking that 9 technique. 9 technique plays as a D-gap. Ball stays inside, and we do a good job of running it down from the linebacker level. We'll go back here. So right here, here's our will linebacker, Robbie Schroeder, working downhill. Phil, look for Phil. You see the run through actually fits in the A gap there. And then we've got our scrape from our MAC linebacker. He goes back inside, and we get bodies to it. And again, it's a 2-yard gain. It'd be nice if we gave up less, but we're making a stop. We get a great fill out of this linebacker, I believe. Ian Ishmael came out and played for us this year. Straight downhill, snipes it from behind. And again, I feel, actually sat in on a clinic by a T coach, and they talk about on especially trap, they're counting on this guy scraping out immediately to the power. Well, if his gap's right in front of him, he sees a guard down block, he sees an open window. If he takes that, he can get the play before it even gets out, tackle the near hip, and then he gets a little help from his teammates. But taking that right away, that also gives us a chance, if we don't get a great spill on trap, the tighter he can fit, the better off we are against trap. And then simultaneously, it's not bad against power. See our 9 technique, he's trying to spill it. You see our 5 technique eating up a double team. See our corner and safety coming up to help out. Another power. We get big big collision inside. I believe that's our play side 4 technique. He's on a called squeeze. He's ripping inside. He picks off the pulling guard. Power is not going to be a very good play. When that guard gets knocked down, and pretty sure that's the quarterback on his fake, so our corner doesn't have to worry about that, and the ball goes out to the edge. And again, I talked about we're on a called squeeze by all our guys right now. Here's our 4 upfield, and once we're inside that, as long as we're hitting that guard, we can get a little bit vertical. Our 9 tech is getting washed, definitely, but that does 2 things. Number one, that makes the fill and scrape our will linebacker real easy, real short, and he's able to tackle that near hip. And then even if, so they end up wasting a block with that halfback on the 9 technique, even if that guy goes out, we've got him outnumbered. We got 3 on their 1 remaining blocker. Even if the guard would have got out, if number 15 Coloma here didn't knock him off his path, and that guard gets out, we've got 3 guys for 2 guys plus the ball carrier. We're going to fit all the remaining gaps out there, and we're in good shape. We got our force defender, we got our alley runner, and we got our inside scraper. And pretty vicious tackle by our corner, Levi Wilkins there. Another power, and keep your eyes here. They're going to crease us here. They're going to hit a B-gap power on us, or they're blocking on at the point of attack because they know we spill it. They're trying to avoid that. They get kick out with their tackle, kick out with their tight end. Their guard gets our play side linebacker in A-gap, and our backside linebacker is just a little slow on his scrape. So their, I believe, guard wraps up to him. Yeah, the guard wraps up and gets our will linebacker there. See 54 pinning him. And what our secondary is doing. Now, this is normally the job of the corner more so than the safety because the corner can go a little faster. But both corner and safety. Safety confirms both the tight end blocking and backs away. Corner sees tight end down block and back away. They're looking for the first back threat that comes through. The fullback, he's not got the ball. His hands are open. Our guys probably see that and know that, and our safety makes a heck of a play, and that's huge. And that's where we've gotten better on defense. We don't give up the touchdown on a play like this, and a couple plays later on a 4th and 4, we end up making a stand and give ourselves a shot to go win that football game. So right here, this safety, number 11, Tevin Blazier, he's keying that tight end. Tight end's blocking down. His shoulders turn like that, start looking for the back. Start pursuing. And now just give it everything you can, get across, and make a heck of a play. And that play is just as important as that 2-yard loss play because it gives you a chance. And then I believe this is going to be our last power. Our backups are in. We're not aligned properly. We've got like a 2, and our outside linebacker reduced because his buddy's on the other side. But right here, this is Taquan Shern playing cutback corner. Starts shuffling across. Fullback's gone. That fake's tackled. We're not letting trap score. And because of our alignment, they're going to crease us here and hit. And our corner comes across. And again, years past, that's going for a touchdown. We don't have the discipline. Even earlier in that season, that would go for a touchdown because our secondary is not playing with the disciplined eyes that this kid plays with. And again, we see our edge. It's not correct. So they get a lot of bodies and win the CD gap. And here comes our corner across, and it helps preserve a shutout. So now defending keep. And again, everything on defense, everything on both sides of the ball, coach, and you want to be consistent with what you're asking your guys to do. We're still going to spill a key play. If we get a down block, I can't reasonably ask a 9 technique to distinguish, well, does the quarterback have it or not? That's impossible. So tight end down blocks, we're going to step with it. We're going to spill. We're going to make sure the quarterback doesn't keep up inside. And the reason is sometimes they'll run the keep out wide, and then other times they'll follow the power and try to crease you if they think they can do that. We typically see it outside. What becomes really crucial, really the only run fit that is significantly different here, on a keep play for the most part, they're trying to get the guard out like we showed earlier and get the force defender reached with the guard, get them logged, whatever you want to call it. So that corner has to make sure the ball gets turned back inside. That's the job of the force defender. He has to do it. Our safety. One other thing about, and this is not independent to an odd front, but if you got a 4 or 5 technique, you're forcing that tight end to double more often. That lets your safety at the point of attack trigger a little faster, play downhill in the alley, and help support the keep there. And then both our nose and our 4 technique on the keep. Typically, again, one of these linebackers are going to come out clean. If the power fake gets tackled, and usually the power fake goes a little bit more inside and really tries to get the defense to step in, that will linebacker might get out all the way to the alley. This is probably my favorite. It's probably my favorite play ever as a defense coordinator. This is Zach Lake. And I don't know if the tight end screws up a blocking assignment here, or if they got this tag or something because he ends up arcing. We got a called squeeze on. Again, more so for trap, but we're going to be okay here. So we're down inside. Our 9 technique is aiming for that offensive tackle. He has spilled the halfback. He is pretty much spilling the guard. And the power fake doesn't want anything to do with it, and the quarterback goes for a 5-yard loss. One more time, just because, again, it's my favorite defensive play probably ever. Down inside, and a lot of coaches, well, coach, you said you don't want to get vertical against the T. If I'm inside my kick-out block, getting vertical creates this huge bubble that the quarterback simply can't run around. And he's faking. He's used to, we get that guy logged, and I'm looking at that corner, trying to get that corner to bite in. Our corner's doing a good job of keeping leverage on it and pulls his trigger, and that quarterback's really lucky that I missed that tackle. And just to see a yellow shirt, we're going to make that tackle. We've got 5 guys to the ball, and what lets us get more guys to the ball is the fact that we're trying to spill it. And even if we don't get that inside pursuit that ultimately makes a tackle, we got the on-block corner, we got the on-block safety. So now they're running this to the right, and they're going to reach block instead of down block. They're going to reach block our 9 technique, so he's going to play that like a reach block. This is Jermaine Smith, one of the more athletic guys we've had play for us. Does a great job stretching the reach block. Probably getting held a little bit, but he keeps on fighting. He's taking on 2 blockers now, so that lets our corners coming up. He's forcing. He's outside of, I believe that's the fullback coming there. And we've opened up running lanes because we've stretched the reach block so well. There's our MAC linebacker scraping outside, and big 1st and 10 play to force that guy. That quarterback just ran, we got 17 and a third and then 20-something between the hashes or whatever. We just made him run over 30 yards to gain nothing. And again, we've also gotten way better at, there's no guard pull, so our backside linebacker is a little bit slow, but we got better. I like the eye discipline out of all our second level guys right now. Will linebacker had stuff come right at him. Mac linebacker has the open B gap start to fill it. C gap gets canceled. B gap's no longer a threat because the ball carrier's out past it. Try to hit that run through, corners at the edge, run them all the way out of bounds. Huge play. Skip ahead. I believe they're coming at our Bob linebacker. And now this kid's maybe not ideal against the T. He's about 160 pounds, but he's very quick. And he's down inside. He had a tight end down block. Again, I'd like him to be more physical, but he doesn't get hands on the tight end necessarily. But he is inside. He is so tight to that tight end, the halfback completely misses him. Even on the log, he is working to tackle the power fake first. I would kind of completely believe that kid if he told me, oh, the power fake didn't have it, coach. The quarterback does a great job. Again, only 160 pounds, but holds on to it, gives his backside linebacker a chance to run through. Our backside linebacker, Cody here, or Mac, he's getting guard and near back. Both are away. Start to fill opposite A. Opposite A is closed, scrape. Opposite B is closed, keep scraping. Does a great job of playing the back hip of this to get all, and at first, a lot of coaches will be like, you really expect your inside linebacker to make tackles out in the alley over there? Well, we're stilling it. That's the idea. Get everything blocked up, let this kid run free, make sure the ball gets strung out, and we get our inside linebacker all the way out to the alley over there. And our corner's a little bit soft here, and I like that. It's 3rd and 8. It's down in distance, should be softer. This could easily become a flag, and he doesn't commit until that halfback starts to break down just a little bit to block him. And not good stuff's happening for the offense back there. So he pulls his trigger. Our safety's also down in the alley right here. Actually, those guys are brothers, Taquan and Kenny, working over there. Just keep your eyes on the nose, because again, this is why we like to be having a zero technique. Almost single-handedly gets to the keep. Our outside linebacker initially starts off great. He's inside, and they're instead of the fullback faking the midline, they're trying to get everybody out there. It's really a quarterback sweep as much as anything else. The physicality by our 9-tech Cole's doing a great job there. It'd be nice if he ran the darn circle, though. Our corners setting the edge, forcing it. We do get across and end up making a tackle from the linebacker level. And again, this should have been real similar to the previous clip. Right now, that ball is a 3-yard loss if our 9 technique goes through that halfback. And again, his head spun around because he doesn't know who has the ball. And that goes back to the earlier part. A couple things that do give us a small advantage that when we want to force the issue, maybe, it's 2nd and 9. This is just a spot. I want to get them to 3rd and long, because their 3rd and long play, their best play 3rd and long, these T teams, is typically trap. So we've got a blitz by our play side linebacker through the B gap here. And all we're really doing is we're telling him, hey, hit that run through right away. Does really tackles both the power fake and the quarterback simultaneously. They wanted to ride this and then get outside of us. Our corner's got leverage. Kenyon does a good job. He's got leverage, and he's going to be forcing there. And he gets to pull his trigger because the wing's down blocking our 9 technique. 9 technique does a decent job flipping his hips, trying to get vertical through it, setting, helping make a bubble for the quarterback to run through. And we'll see the end zone shot. Ian on the blitz gets through, snipes it from behind. The other thing, this is Robbie. He got really good at hip pocketing that guard, much like our 3 and 4 techniques would, of hip pocketing that guard. He got good at doing that on a backside A-gap blitz. So we're slanting the defensive lines to the left. Their tendency is to run to our left, to their right a little bit more. And it's 4th and 6. I want to try and see if we can get there and make sure the ball doesn't get out. Here he comes. The tackle can't make that down block. He's hip pocketing that guard, and a big stop. And it's one of those things where now offensively, it's kind of like, come on, guys. The center could block back on that. But if that center blocks back, now they're very much smaller guard, and their guards are sometimes will be on the smaller side because they're going to value a guy who can pull and do stuff like that. Their guard's now one-on-one with that nose. So making that adjustment offensively ends up giving them one-on-ones. They don't do it, and we get a big stop. And then one more time, giving love to our backups here. This is near the end of the game. They're running a keep. We're spilling. We're inside. We're actually probably on a call. I hope we're squeezing. It looks like it. We're inside the tight end. We've got all the interior gaps, and what that does, again, people are like, well, you're giving up the edge. Those guys are free. The corner's free. Somewhere back here is the safety. Linebackers are downhill. They keep scraping. Corner could have made a huge, huge stop. We missed that, but we got a bunch of yellow jerseys coming to the ball. And a nice hit from really, take it back, show you the whole thing. Backside corner, his job. Back away. Find the next threat. Fullback's tackled probably. Keep scraping, keep scraping, keep scraping. Nice hard run to make a good firm tackle at the sideline there. And those shots, see why it got messy. Our outside linebacker stilled the halfback by ripping inside. And really that halfback should, and they've been proven on that, Constantine has, of they will continue and find one of our linebackers. But outside backer ends up inside of everything, knocks the guard down, knocks the power fake down, and just we, as much as we've improved schematically, I think we've gotten our guys more confident. They just play with more energy. Okay, last run fit is counter. In power and counter, as you get to understand the game more, they're the same play. They're ultimately going to have a bunch of down blocks, a kick out at the point of attack, and then something leading through. Counter, we actually get more hats to the ball on counter, especially if they're pulling that tight end. So we've already talked about fit and power. So the things are the same. 9 techniques, spilling a guard kick out. We're taking on double teams with our 4 or 5 and there's 0. We're still scraping with our inside backers. We're hit pocketing with the backside 4 or 5 and the backside 6 or 9 technique. Corners of the force guy, playing the spill, setting the edge. Play side safety on both power and counter. He's got that tight end down blocking our 4 or 5 technique. He can pull his trigger pretty quick and get going downhill. What's different, if they're pulling the tight end, that backside safety, he sees that tight end pull. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to probably end up seeing it for some reason this upcoming year. They pull that tight end. The only thing that can really come back out here is quarterback on a naked bootleg or something like that. And play action becomes a real rare thing. And then on top of that, even if it was play action, our corner could still have the one guy that's the remaining play action threat. So our safety sees that tight end pull. He can go be an extra guy and fit over in the alley as well. Here's a quarterback counter GE actually. We ride the tight end down. Ball gets spilled. The end zone shot of this is absolutely awesome. And the ball actually comes out. That would have been a huge play early on in the game. Little momentum swing. We don't get the fumble recovery. All right, here we go. Nose is in A. We're pinching our 5. He's going to be in B. Our will linebacker is downhill on his fill. He's going to be in C. Our 9 tech Bob squeezed that down block by the tight end. He's in D. We still have a corner and safety outside of the guard. The guard missed our outside linebacker. And again, that's as much as that's the guard messing up, that's also our outside linebacker being physical with the tight end and being real tight to him. That kid misses it. We got both the corner and safety bracketing it. And then from the backside, our MAC linebacker comes across. And he is the guy who almost has a shot at recovering the fumble. So really good fit by us. Jermaine on this play, he sniffed out. Now he can hit pocket that pulling tight end, and he should be spilling things anyways. Follow the tight end, keeps falling, makes the play from behind. Nice job by Brendan Lute on the play side here. We're on a called squeeze again, and they're arcing. And this had success against us in the past. It's on the beginning of the film here. and he's getting kicked out. It'd be nice if he's ripping inside that to really bottle that up, because that probably, instead of being a 0-yard gain, is a loss if he's downside. That kid can't keep his shoulders square then. And really nice job by our 4 technique here, Davion. He's on a called squeeze. That guard goes down. He's playing the trap first, and we're okay with that. We are living with the fact we might get washed a little bit to make sure that that trap doesn't crease us. He feels that pressure by that offensive tackle. That is the same as ripping inside a pulling guard and trying to spill that pulling guard and then running the circle back to the outside. Does a good job getting in pursuit and helping our backside stud linebacker make the tackle. We'll get straight to the end zone shot on this one. So 9 tech, he's punching and striking that tight end, falls him down, ignores all the fakes, rips inside the spill by the halfback there, and just makes a really good physical play, a really good ball player for us. And talking about the rest of the fit there, great end zone shot right here. 4 techs in B. We squeezed and we're inside C with our outside backer, our 9 technique. Will linebacker, Phil, scrape. Even if we don't get that hip pocket from the backside, we're in decent shape because we've got still in D gap and this ball all the way out to the alley because our Will linebacker kept it tight, takes on the log block of either the tight end or the guard there, and we'd still have the corner and safety unblocked at the point of attack there. Last part, you still got to cover the pass against the full house T. And we've gotten way better, like I said, with coaching up the technique and the eye discipline, especially of our defensive backs. We are, as a base, I think it's really important for younger coaches out there to understand, like, you can't drastically be changing up from your base defense just because you see an offense that's different from what you normally see each week. And again, here in Michigan, we see 2 T teams. We've seen 2 T teams every single year. One year we actually saw 4 of them. And we still are going to play matchup zone coverages from a 2-high shell. And I showed in the run portion of this stuff, it lets us get 11 defenders to the ball. It gives us the ability to have both the corners and safety being cutback players playing the counters. Every sound defense, while it must also simultaneously account for all the receiving threats by man coverage or zone coverage, that's going to limit the run-pass conflict of defenders. And I don't care until you go straight man, which I don't suggest with all the misdirection and the fakes that T teams are doing. Until you go straight man, you can't completely eliminate run-pass conflict, but you can make it minimal. So what I mean by that is if you got your corners playing force, it makes sense. They're going to be covering the flats. They're going to be the low outside player. Safeties are fitting in the alley. They can be a little slower with that. As much as we like them in the run fit, we don't need them fitting in that alley if we win at least one block. If we destroy at least one block, we're going to have more hats to the ball than the offense has. So they can be a little slower. They're playing that deep half. And then our inside linebackers, they're filling the interior gaps. They're the guys who typically sniff out a hook curl. We don't expect, if our 9 techniques, our outside backers are up on the line of scrimmage, we do not expect them to ever really cover a pass outside of maybe a screen. And every once in a while, they'll get themselves involved, but they're so worried about the feed and reach blocks and playing down blocks and spilling the ball. If we get double tight like this, we don't expect the outside linebackers to be involved in the coverage at all. So here's our matches against keep pass and keep switch pass, and I'll just talk about one because in the end they're putting something in the flats in both, and then they're putting something in the deep outside half. We'll talk about switch pass first. So first off, being consistent with what you teach you guys. We don't expect that outside linebacker to necessarily set an edge. He gets that tight end inside releasing. He's stepping down. He's looking to spill. He's going to be inside the pulling guard there. What they do on switch pass is that tight end will come down and slam the inside linebacker and then pivot back out. Our Mac linebacker in this picture, he typically will do a little better job sniffing out and actually playing the pass when that tight end comes down and down blocks him. Because you just got hit in the face a little bit. it's pretty obvious, hey, get physical with that guy. That guy continues outside. It's not run. Now he's going to be out leveraged. He'll be on the backside or the inside hip the entire time, and he's out leveraged to the flats. So what we're playing, and again, we're cover 2 here. Tight ends keying, corners keying tight end to near back. That tight end inside releases. Eyes go to that near back. That near back's path on most passes are a little bit wider, so he doesn't run into our 9 techniques. So he can get out, especially if he's running the deeper route. So we teach our corners, you're sinking, and then you're going to play up to the flats as the ball is thrown. And I got a pretty good clip of that coming up here real shortly. Safety, tight end down blocks. Once I confirm he's flat, I keep on sinking, and I get my eyes to the next threat because I'm responsible for the deep half. That's why our safety's got to have a little slower triggers in the run game, whereas our corners can come up and force it a little bit faster. And then he's keeping inside leverage and staying on top of that, making sure the ball's thrown in front of him so we can make a tackle. And our corners sinking to try and make that throw into as tight a window as possible. And it's not like that T quarterback has practiced a ton of throwing. He's not like they're air raid and he's going to sling it all over the field and fit it in tight windows. Most T teams we see don't run the backside tight end on a drag just because this edge can get really, really short. They have enough hats if they would, where the fullback and the tackle can pick up our 4 and our 9 technique. But if we would send our will linebacker through here, now we'd have them outnumbered, especially because the center's occupied with the nose. So they'll usually leave that backside tight end in. I've seen them drag it a little bit, and we always kind of practice with that kid on a drag just so we get more routes covered. Our backside corner, tight end to near back, I'm never going to be mad at him if he starts to fit that fullback because that fullback might be leaking out for boot pass here in a bit. That backside safety, he's going to be able to run with that drag a little bit. If that really, really flattens out, we'd expect our backside safety to melt, and he's looking to protect the post. What would cover that drag, and like, to be honest, if they could throw this ball here, they're going to have a shot at throwing a completion. What probably ends up happening is as the ball's completed, the corner will fall off, have outside leverage and tackle it, and our MAC linebacker will be able to drop to it and again, help out, rally to it, make the tackle. So here we go. We got high-low. The tight end's going to be on the flag, and the halfback will be on the arrow. What happens is that the tight end doesn't get a clean release, and our outside linebacker treats that a little bit like a reach block. Tight end slips inside finally, and our outside linebacker, again, we don't give him pass coverage because we don't need him in the pass coverage. Our corner is outside leverage on the arrow. We're going to end up getting the sack here. Even if we didn't, right now our backside corner and safety are going to be inside and then on top of that tight end, and our play side safety is outside on top. End zone shot, just so you can see what our eyes see. So safety's keying that tight end. That tight end's definitely blocking. We're too high. We're a middle of field open team, so we're always coaching these guys, hey, melt to the middle, protect the post, because that's the weakness of being split safety. He gets his eyes to the ball, but the tight end's coming to him, and we've got that tight end triple teamed if they would even be able to throw it. Here we are. This is our corner, Caleb. Great job of showing the whole idea of sink and then break on the ball when it's thrown to the flats. Outside linebacker went on called squeeze. Again, I'm worried about trap on 4th and 8. As a defensive coordinator, we're trying to bottle up the inside gaps. Our inside linebackers are clean. Backside linebacker actually does a decent job of reacting. He's way out leveraged, but he at least picks up pass here. The other linebacker, I'm never mad at this because we need a contained player with our other linebacker. We coach them, don't get caught in no man's land, continue downhill and go ahead and keep on pursuing for a sack. And there's Caleb breaking on the ball. Probably would have been a pick 6. He's an all-state track guy. Our quarterback and backside safety, Zach, good line. A little frustrated with his teammate there. But he knows Caleb probably goes to the house if he gets that pick. I actually like this Kenny at safety. I like him just a little bit more. It's 4th and 8. Stay on top and on top to tight end. And you can see our corner coming back. As the ball's thrown, he breaks on it. He's going to have outside leverage if it was thrown more accurately, and he'd probably be able to make the tackle and prevent the first down from happening. And then one more. And now this is cheating a little bit against the T. It's 3rd and 11, late 4th quarter, under a minute to go in the game. We know pass is coming. With that said, it'd be nice if our corner played it. And he's just alignment is such a big part of defense. Right now, he's aligned a little bit too close as the ball snapped. If he was back off the line of scrimmage 4 yards like the other corner is, and really ideally they're even with the linebacker at 5 yards, he does a better job sniffing this out. But we get our MAC linebacker. There's the pivot by the tight end. You'd have that matched if it continued and the corner had outside leverage. Both our safeties are protecting that middle of the field, and we get the ball forced, and that's secures the victory for us. The safety was Zach Goodline. He ended up being a college basketball player at Oakland, and now he's transferred over to Huntington down in Indiana. Boot pass and boot seam pass, or a variation really of what T coaches call Michigan pass. Boot pass, our corner sees back away, find the next threat. That fullback's coming to the flats. He's going to play the same technique that he used on those key passes of sink and break on the ball when it's thrown. What happens if we get an outside release by tight ends and we're playing a base technique out of our outside backers? They treat it a lot like a reach block. So even though we don't coach them to have a pass responsibility, they get that outside reach. A lot of times they'll expand with it because they think it's a reach block, and they'll end up working out to the flats. If they do that, that lets our corner, and that's why we coach our corners to sink and break on the flats when it's thrown, because now the corner can make sure that pull shot to the flag or the corner route there is a tight window. Safety, pretty easy read. Tight end is vertical immediately. Stay on top and inside. Backside, the wheel route by the halfback there should be really easy for the corner to keep on top and outside leverage. And then our free safety, he could be in a little bit of a bind here with the tight end drag. If our linebackers can get hooked up on that, keep melting to the middle of the field and let the linebackers take it if at all possible. And again, I think we'll have a clip of them doing just that, or sometimes that route doesn't even get thrown, so go find work, double team a deep threat. And then as far as playing that drag, because that's especially wing T teams really like to hit that drag. Our will linebacker, if he sees a guard pull like this, I don't expect him to be involved in the coverage, and that's that consistency and understanding what you're doing defensively. So he pulls his trigger and matches the guard pull. Our backside linebacker, as that tight end crosses his face, he's probably going to get out leverage, but he would be trailing on the backside of that. And again, very similar to the drag and key pass, our corner is sinking. If the ball did get thrown accurately, it probably gets completed, and our corner could break up on it. And then Michigan pass or boot seam pass. Again, the play action, I think, is a little different on Michigan pass, and we've not actually seen Michigan pass on film. One of our, Dalton Kellogg, had this on film, and this is how we were working to match it in practice. Ultimately, outside release, our outside backer is going to treat it like a reach. He'll play underneath of it. Corner's going to play on top. That safety right there, that's who they're trying to get when they try to sneak this halfback down the middle. And we're too high, so this is something that I would expect to see against us. That tight end is out real wide. Safety should stay, continue to sink, and he's protecting the post. That's what split safeties have to do. The middle of the field's open. You got to make sure you're protecting the post. So keep sinking and find the threat of the post, which ends up being the halfback out. Our MAC linebacker in this diagram, if he gets legitimate pass reads, pass keys out of these guys, and this guy's coming straight at him, there's probably a decent chance he puts his foot in the ground and plays underneath of it, which lets the safety stay completely on top, and makes that window to throw it really, really, really tight. And then the tight end on the backside is going to be an easy safety inside on top, corner outside. So here's a boot pass. The tight end down blocks. So our 9 technique is going to be inside. The tight end continues on his flag. Here's a wheel by the halfback that doesn't get out. Our corner, it'd be nice, he decides to pull his trigger. It'd be nice he would have, he probably got his eyes in the backfield here. And it's 3rd and 9, so again, it'd be nice if he's sinking and playing underneath us, but he's also worried about that trap fake a little bit. And then he comes up to force the ball, ultimately. It causes the quarterback to have to pull up. Our safety on the top side is inside leverage, so the flag's given up. Does a great job. My head coach, Joe Stevens, is coaching our defensive backs and does a great job of working back to have inside leverage. And then on top of that, All-State basketball player, Zach Goodline, he understands the situation. Really, he's playing that very similar to like a post-up in basketball and forces the quarterback to put a bunch of air under it. The tight end almost makes the circus catch, but I'm pretty sure he would have been out of bounds. And we made that window tight. That's all the more you can do sometimes. Talking about our point of attack linebacker potentially hooking up. Here's the fake. He ends up finding that lead blocker, and he, from summer 7-on-7, he does a good job of running and playing underneath of it while the corner and safety played on top. We don't need to see that end zone shot. Here's another boot pass. And down in distance, 3rd and 9. Corner knows, hey, sink, make sure there's air under the ball. Tight end crossed his face. Now we're voiding the flats. 3rd and 9, we can do that. First off, if they complete it, we come up, we stick it. It's probably only a 5-yard gain. So it's 4th and 4. And then second, they're calling this play to hit the flag. So corner sinking underneath of it. Safety Zach comes across, has on top leverage, breaks on the ball, gets a foot down, holds on for the pick. End zone shot's worth looking at here. There's a good example of our outside backer stretching it because he feels it's a little bit like a reach block from his 6th technique, and then he continues on a pass rush, actually gets a hit on the quarterback. You see our safety underneath and outside, our corner underneath and outside, our safety on top, inside leverage. Ball gets thrown a little too far. Again, that corner forced more air under the ball, and we get a big play. Now this is just a simple seam pass. Not even really a run fake to it or a pop pass. And our safety is looking at the tight ends. Both safeties are doing that. Our inside linebackers we're match up, so we don't really talk about hook zones or all that, anything like that. But they're worried about playing that down block most likely. So he gets hands on that guy, sniffs out that it's pass. Maybe we held. I don't know. Offense holds all the time. So our safety makes a nice little pick. Another boot pass. Earlier I showed Tevin at safety coming across and making a tackle on a cutback on a power that creased us a little bit. I think this is about 5 or 6 plays later. It's 4th and 16. It's a 1-score game. There's about a minute 30 left in the game, and this is a great play by both squads here. You know, they're trying to get one first down and end the game. We're trying to get the ball back, give ourselves a chance to come back. We're going to bring some pressure here, force that ball out faster with our will linebacker. And we're getting there. Quarterback's going to make sure the ball gets up in the air. We got a bunch of hats to the ball, and we get the backside wheel double team. End zone shot is great from pass coverage standpoint. So safety on the backside here, tight end blocking, find work. The inside leverage on the wheel coming, safety, the outside leverage on the other side. tight ends vertical. I'm inside and on top as the safety. Corner, I'm outside, leverage, and trying to stay on top there. And now it's just sprint. Keep my leverage. Again, we're coaching. All right, don't get my face crossed on the post. Corner's undercutting it, and that's a tough catch to make. They can't do it. And we get the ball back with a minute 30 and a chance to win it and go to a minute 17 and a chance to win it and go to the playoffs. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you got something out of that. Again, very challenging offense to have to defend. Comes down to simple eye discipline is probably the single biggest thing, and then some of the schematic things that I showed you. If you have questions about any of that, once again, my name is Coach Klee. I'm a defensive coordinator at Coloma High School. Hit me up on Twitter at Coach Klee. Check out my YouTube channel. I got a 7-part video series on defending the T, because it's been the most challenging part of being a defensive coordinator. And then there's my email for you. And then lastly, big thanks to all the players over the past 5 years, especially in my entire 17-year coaching career. Do it for those guys, and it's all about teaching those guys that if they're focused with their discipline all the time and they have incredible energy, effort, and enthusiasm, they're going to put themselves to be in a position of success, both on the field and off the field. And last thanks to, again, Coach Bandstra for having me on his YouTube channel and sharing some of this with all of you.